Hello there, adventurers, and welcome back to our first look at Crosswind, which is a pirate game that's currently being developed, heavily inspired by Assassin's Creed Black Flag in the sense of all the piratey stuff, but it's also a survival game like Ark and Shrouded or Valheim, and it looks to be a very promising game. The alpha test should be here next month. Hopefully we can get to play it a little bit and explore what they've got cooking up so far. And the actual release, I believe, will be a little bit later, maybe early next year or something. But they've just dropped some new news about the build system. And of course, that is something that I am particularly interested in. So I thought today, let's take a little look about what they've announced and what we can expect in this game. So it sounds like they've got quite a lot already, and it sounds pretty good in my opinion. So building in Crosswind is about self-expression, progression, and shaping the world, which sounds very promising indeed. And we can see a little example of a nice build here. Now this already looks really good. If this is their simple like thatch or early game tier, this looks amazing. You can see some vines and stuff going on and a lot of cool clutter decorations around the build to really bring them all to life. So this definitely already feels very promising, and they explain a lot about the philosophy they have whilst building. So they say it's a core part of the survival in Crosswind, but they wanted to make sure that it is still welcoming and intuitive so it doesn't feel too difficult to use, because some people, all they really need is some walls and a roof and that's it. But of course there's many other people like me that prefer to do a little bit more in-depth building, and they show some other examples here of different tiers. Once again, this looks absolutely incredible. I love these textures and the fact that the stone has these wooden beams in there, and the wood itself looks really good, and the thatch roofs. Everything here looks very exciting. So the core building principles that they explained are like they have to be simple so everyone feels like they can get started with it, and some people might leave it and that, but it also needs to be flexible so you get more tools. So precise angle rotation, optional snapping, z-axis nudging, and this all sounds really good, because this means you get a lot of freedom of where you want to place what. And it is also going to be an in-game building preview that shows you exactly what the piece is going to look like before you place it, and that sounds very helpful indeed. And then of course they've got the beautiful principle for builders that like me, that treat building maybe as the end goal in the game, and you can go as crazy as you want, and you can stack decor and stuff like that, which sounds really cool. And there's also a quick brush mode. You can just hold down the mouse button and basically sweep it around to lay down walls, floors, roof in one continuous motion, which sounds really helpful, especially for those bigger build projects. And we can see a little example of that going on here, I think. But they've also got, of course, performance in mind, which makes a lot of sense, because some people, tend to do big builds, and you want to make sure that your game handled as fine. But then this very excitingly shows that there will in fact also be some terraforming available, and that is always a game changer when that is in a game. They say it's going to be a basic terraforming. It is still early and primitive, but this already sounds really good and will make it a lot easier to build exactly what you want to build, because you can kind of manipulate some of the environment to fit your builds perfectly, which is always a really nice addition. So your journey starts with just the bedrolls, campfire, makeshift tools, but you'll be adding workbenches, kilns, palisades, and they say that you just have to place an upgrade module next to a workstation to unlock the new tiers. And they also explain a little bit about what rules will be implied for building, so you can't just have things floating around. They do have some integrity in place, which makes a lot of sense. I mean, floating would be a little bit random, of course, but they also seem to really be encouraging freedom, so I really am excited to see what it's going to be like. I don't know how much will be in the alpha, but we'll definitely be checking it out and building as much as we can and exploring hopefully as much of the different building tiers to see what we can come up with. But so far, from all the little screenshots that we've seen, I love all these little details, especially the nautical theme woven into all of these with the netting, and you can see some seashells here and stuff like that. It really looks very exciting, and I think the game can really set itself apart with this way, because I mean, lots of people are waiting for a cool pirate adventure, but people like me that also love to build will also be able to build the pirate builds of their dream, because it looks like they have already got a lot of things, or at least are testing a bunch of different things. Now to go into more detail about the exact way about building and your own islands, of course, there will be some PvP elements, but those will all be in specific regions. And the personal island you live on for your story is private, so it's solo or invite-only co-op, so you don't get any random visitors when you don't want them, which means you can go all out with building without having to worry about, you know, it being destroyed by the time you get back. And during the playtest, there will be no option even to have like base rates or whatever. So it's only going to be in your own safe zone, which is really nice. They've also explained some of the future plans. You know, of course, not everyone that is going to play the game is going to be very excited about the building, but I, for one, am very excited. And also some of the future plans sound really cool. Wanderers, merchants, quest givers, or would-be crewmates will occasionally arrive at your settlement, and you'll be able to recruit them. They will be able to help gather materials, craft your gear, and you know, support your entire progression over time. And eventually this will lead into a broader crew system that they're working on, which sounds really, really cool. But especially, of course, being able to have NPCs help you gathering things for builders like me, it's going to be very helpful. So I can focus on the thing that I like most, which is the building. And then hopefully these NPCs can help me gather some of those resources, because I'm sure I'll go through it very quickly with all the cool builds that I want to do. But yeah, this looks very good so far. It looks like there's going to be a lot of decoration options already, at least what they've shown in all these little teaser photos and the footage that we've already seen before. So I'm very excited, because for just the, you know, the early release or the early alpha test, it already looks like there's going to be a decent amount of things in there. And they're also looking into how building might evolve into other parts of the game, but of course, more on that later. So yeah, for me, this sounds really, really good. Again, I love seeing some of these images. They look very, very good and very exciting with the amount of details that are there. Yeah, and as I said, I really can't wait to get my hands on this myself and be able to see what this offers, but it's definitely looking very promising for a game that is in such an early stage of its development. And besides talking about all these build features and all these options that we'll have for building, they also released a bunch of fun bloopers from some of the tests that they've been doing themselves, and this is actually a really cool video. I definitely recommend checking this out yourself if you're interested in the game, because yeah, definitely looks like they have a good amount of humor to laugh about of some of these features. But yeah, I'm very excited for this game. Hopefully we'll get to play this game next month. I think the current news is like halfway or the end of May. I'm hoping that I get to play it before I go on my holiday. But yeah, so far it's all looking very exciting, and I'm getting more and more hyped for this game, and hopefully doing some fun pirate builds. Anyway guys, that's gonna be it for today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to leave a like, and if you want to keep up to date with this game, I'm definitely going to be checking it out soon and playing the alpha test and doing some builds there. So yeah, if you want to check it out, make sure you subscribe to the channel as well, and I'll see you in the next video or stream. Goodbye.